Good night. Well, it's 7 in my air. It's like 10 something. Just came back from swimming, guys. Hope you guys enjoy my CFL videos. Yeah, your videos are sick, I know. I guarantee you, all you NFL athletes and American football fans, I didn't know that about the CFL. I guarantee you, all you NFL athletes thought most of the star players were Canadian players in the CFL, but no, man, no. Most of the star positions are the American players. That's how it works, right? Alright, that's cool. The CFL doesn't trust. Yeah, the CFL doesn't trust that the best Canadian players can put on a good enough of a show to attract the Canadian fans when they know they're more valuable than the American players. We know the Canadian players are more valuable. They're just not as talented either. Like, the quality will dip. Like, we're scared because of the quality will dip and it's not as high. Because I think the CFL, they're trying to be like the NFL of Canada. Yeah, we wanna like try to be the NFL of Canada. I'm like, guys, you're never gonna be the NFL. Football is just not that popular in Canada, guys. Like, your league will never be the NFL. Stop trying to be the NFL. You're never gonna be the NFL. Football is not that popular in Canada, guys, compared to America. Sarah? You're also never going to be the NHL either. NHL is just too popular in Canada. CFL doesn't even compete with the NFL. It doesn't even come close. No. Yeah. But I think the CFL will ever make that change? No. It's too risky, obviously, because the quality will obviously go down if they do that. Because the best Canadian players, even though they're the best talent in Canada, they're not as athletic and as talented as like the American players, right? Not that much of a difference, but the Americans have the edge, and they're more athletic, and they have the edge in talent, and they put on more of a show when they play. So the CFL is worried. Yeah, if we get rid of the American guys, even though the best Canadian players will put on a show, it's not as quality football. That's what the CFL believes, obviously. Yeah. Because the Canadian players are not as athletic as the American players, right? They're just not, though. Yeah. I don't know. The American players who compete in the CFL much better than the best Canadian players. No, there's not that much of a difference. But the Americans are a bit more athletic, and in most cases, they have more of the edge and talent. They're a little bit more athletic, and that's why they start them, obviously, right? You know there's not that much of a different talent. Team kind of beat your Team USA guys. I'm not lying. Yeah. My oldest brother played for Team Canada. Obviously, they played against Team USA. They got killed 41-3. And then 3 years later it was I think U18. Yeah, U18. Best players in Canada played your best players, U18 Team USA. Our guys wiped the floor with your Team USA. These are the best guys, best U18 players in USA versus the best U18 players in Canada, and Canada beat them. And that's how you know there's not that much of a difference in um in quality, obviously. But even when I saw the game, even though Team Canada beat Team USA, you can tell the American players, they're a little bit more athletic when they play. They have a little bit of the edge in athleticism, but the Canadian players, they still beat them. They beat your best U18 players. I'm not lying, guys. I saw the game. Team Canada wiped the floor with your Team USA, man. They beat them 41. It was like 41, like 23 or something like that. I don't remember. It was something like that. It was pretty bad. You beat your team USA. You're the best U18 players in the country, right? Ah. You beat your team USA. Obviously. Well, on average, and when I saw the game, I didn't see a difference in quality. When I saw the Canadians and the Americans played, I didn't really see much of a difference. The Americans on average are a little bit more athletic, but I didn't really see that much of a difference in talent. Yeah, yeah. The Canadian players, the Canadian players are the only players in the world who has a shot at being the American players, or who can hold their own against American players. Well, the European players don't even stand a chance with the American players. The Canadian players are the only ones who have a shot at perhaps being the American players or holding their own against the American players. Was no other nationality of athletes could compete with the football players, obviously, right? The Canadian players are number two after the American players in the world, right? See if we'll never make the change. No, it's too risky. It's a little bit risky. No. Yeah, we can't do that now. The quality, yeah, but the quality will dip a little bit, guys. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, right? Yeah, yeah. I watch the CFL Combine. I see the Canadian athletes compete. It's very competitive. It's high quality. Yeah, I mean, it's high quality, but it's not like the American players. Yes, but there's not that much of a difference, guys. The best players in Canada competing. I'll tell the CFL, yeah, get rid of the American guys. And if you're worried a little bit about the quality dipping, you have to put them through better conditioning and training in the offseason. Every offseason, that we get a performance out of the Canadian players and you promote them, this thing could be big, man. You can double in revenue in 10 years. But CFL will say, no, we can't do that. We're scared because the quality will dip. Less people in Canada be interested in the games. Yeah, but even though the quality will dip, because everyone now knows these guys are all Canadian pro athletes who they can resonate with, more people will be more interested in the game. But CFL doesn't agree with. No, I don't agree with you. Even though like they're more market value because of quality, I think less people in Canada be interested because the quality's not as good. Yeah, even though the quality's not as good, the fans can relate to the Canadian players. They're going to be more drawn to the game. But CFL obviously is worried about the quality. Obviously, I mean, the quality will dip. We can't do that, man. Guys, put them through better training and conditioning if you're so worried about the quality dropping so much, right? Yeah. Better training, better conditioning for the best Canadian players. Yeah. You think the CFL? You think the CFL fans agree with you, Ivan? Some of them do, some of them. But yeah, even if they get rid of the American talent, it can be huge because the Canadian players have a bigger market value and the fans can resonate with them more. But like the quality, some fans say, "I mean, that's a bad idea, man. The quality will go down." Yeah, it will. Obviously, I know the quality will dip a little bit. It's a little bit risky. It's a little bit risky, obviously. As the Canadian players are not as athletic as the American players. The American players are a little bit more athletic. They put on more of a show, so it's a little risky. I don't think it's that risky, but it's a little bit risky. But like a little bit of risk, higher reward, right? Yeah. Yeah, if we do that, we promote the Canadian players on TSN, it could be big, but like they're scared yeah, the quality will go down. It's not as quality football, and the fans might not tune in on this. That's why the CFL will never do that, obviously. But the CFL's faced with, they're in a tough situation. Yeah, like we need to bring in the American guys, the unsigned, non-drafted free agents or NFL cuts to come here and play, to put on a show for the Canadian fans. But if we have all these American guys star, then we have to promote these guys because they're the stars of the league. They have no choice. See, yeah, CFL, you're stuck in a pickle. If you want to have the majority of your star players be the American players, then you have no choice but to promote those unknown American guys to the Canadian fans. And you notice how you're not seeing any growth in your league, right? You're having very minimal growth. The CFL is having very, very minimal growth in their league, obviously. Two reasons. Either the fans of Canada just don't care about your CFL games, or they don't resonate with the American players because they're from a different country. I know they don't resonate with the American players because I don't resonate with the American players. I just don't. I don't know what the fuck these guys even are, man. Do you resonate with the CFL legends? No, not really. I don't. Because they're American men. They're people from a different country. It's very tough to resonate with someone who's from a different country. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're from a different country, a different region, a different country. So even the CFL legends, it's tough for me to resonate with those guys. Like, I don't really care, right? Whereas the Canadian players, I care more because I can relate to them. They're from the same country I'm from. I'm Canadian. I have my Canadian bias, obviously. Automatic Canadian bias. I told you there's barely any CFL Canadian legends because most of the star athletes in the CFL are the American guys. So all the CFL legends in the Canadian Football League are all these American guys, man. Come on, CFL, man. Really? In the Canadian Football League, the majority of your legends are all these American guys who are not even from here. Like, who the fans have no clue about. Like, that's why I don't really care that much about the CFL legends. I respect them and everything for what they did up here. They had an amazing career up here. I respect them and everything, but like, I don't really care because they're American. Like, you see what I'm saying? I can't resonate with those guys. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't really care. Don't make sense. Yeah. Guarantee all the American star players. Ivan, you're crazy, man. You get rid of us American guys, man. The quality of your game will go down, man. Like, we're the ones who put on a show on television for the Canadian fans. I know the quality will dip a little bit, but like, will it really dip by that much, guys? It won't dip by that much, but it'll dip by, like, the Canadians don't put on a show the way us American players put on a show. Yes, I know, but the fans care more about the Canadian football players. They have higher market value up here. And the fans obviously not resonating with you American guys who come here, man. Like, you see what I'm saying? They put on a show because they're American players. They're unknowns. I can't resonate with them. Like, I don't know who these guys even are. I don't even know who the fuck these guys even are, man. They're just guys who happen to come up here from the States, who didn't get drafted in the NFL, or who are NFL cuts. They put on a show up here, but like, I don't know who the fuck these guys even are, man. I'm clueless, man. I don't even know where these guys even came from, man. They're unknowns who happen to just put on a show up here in Canada, but like, I can't resonate with them because I don't know who the fuck these guys even are. Like, and that's how the CFL wants to promote the league, by promoting amazing unknown talent from a different country. Ivan, that's the way to go. We gotta promote the American talent in Canada and the CFL. Yeah, it's almost like the CFL's desperate to just try to like, Ivan, like, we want to put on quality football. I'm like, guys, you don't trust the best Canadian players to put on good enough quality football to entertain the fans. I've seen CIS games; they're very entertaining games. Well, even they are, but they're not like the NCAA. It's not the NCAA, but the CIS is still very entertaining football, man. Yeah, man. The championship game with McMaster versus Laval was one of the most entertaining games I've ever seen in my life, man. That was a fucking amazing. The year after that was not as entertaining. But the championship game, McMaster versus Laval, back in 2011, it was televised on TSN. That was an amazing game, and like the Canadian players were putting on a show. Kyle Quinn was putting on a show, man, in that game. I know, like, the Canadian players put on a show, but, like, not the way the American players put on a show. Okay, if you're so scared about the dipping quality, put the Canadian athletes through better conditioning and training in the offseason. Like Herb Brooks told the Olympic Committee, put them through better conditioning and training, better coaching, the coaches, and you'll get better performance on the field. I know I'm doing. And promote the Canadian brand. This thing could be huge, man. You can double your league revenue in 10 years. But the CFL would never do that, obviously. I can't do that, man. It's too risky. Okay, so you want to keep the American talent because they're so talented. We have to keep the American talent. They're so talented, Ivan. We can't let go of the American talent. Okay. Let me ask you guys this question. When they talk about Bo Levi Mitchell and Zach Caleros being the best quarterbacks in the league, can they take your team to the Grey Cup? You guys as Canadian players, like, be honest, man. Like, even though, like, you're a bit interested, do you guys really resonate with them? Do you really care? I'm talking to you, committee. You CFL committee. Like, do you really care, guys? Like, be honest. Ivan, we care. We love them. Yeah, I know you care and you love them because they're CFL stars, but do you really care that much about those guys, man? No, we don't, Ivan, because they're American. Yeah, they're American from a different country. It's tougher for the Canadians to resonate with players from a different country as the stars of the league in Canada. It's very tough to resonate with those guys. Oh, Hamson, yeah. Yeah. Why do you care when like Milt Siegel and Matt Dunnigan talk about the best like receivers and like I care a little bit. It's pretty cool, but like because they're American, I don't even know where the fuck these guys even came from. I don't really care, obviously, because they're American from a different country who happen to be stars up here in Canada. Because they're American and I'm Canadian, I don't resonate with them because they're from a different country. So like I don't really care, right? I don't really care that much. Yeah, because they're from a different country, right? I'm Canadian, they're American. That's why I don't really care. Yeah, I don't really care that much. Sarah, I have to get more ketchup. Yeah. Whereas if they talked about I don't know, can Troy Ford or Brandon Bridge bring their team to a Grey Cup? You know what I'm saying? Is who's the best Canadian quarterback in the league? I'm now a bit more interested, obviously, because they're Canadian. I can relate to them more. They may not be as talented guys, but to have better market value, I'm more interested in the game because the CFL's promoting the homegrown Canadian talent. I'm more interested. I'm more drawn. And the CFL knows that we know, man, the Canadian players have higher value than the American players coming up here because they actually are the best players playing in Canada and what and the fans love them a lot more than the American players, and they're more known to the Canadian fans. But they're not as good either, man. We can't take that risk. We're scared they're not going to put on as good quality football for the Canadian fans. Yeah, but guys, they're actually Canadian. This is their country. This is where they're from. Why are you bringing all these American players who are not even Canadian to be the stars of the league when like this is Canada, guys? This is the Canadian Football League in Canada, and you want to promote the Canadian football brand with American players. The fans have no clue about it. Like Ivan, they're talented. Yeah, they may be talented, but they're unknowns to the fans, guys. No one knows these guys even are, man. I have no clue who these guys are. Williamson, yeah. Nobody knows who these guys are. Here we go. If you were CFL commissioner, CFL will say no. They tell me no. Yeah. If you don't make this change, guys, I don't want to be your commissioner. I can't see any way of growing your league without making this change. This is the way to grow the league. Obviously, you have to get rid of the American talent. Yes, your quality will dip, but it won't dip by much, guys. You're still going to get amazing, entertaining football. I know I'm doing. You promote the Canadian talent. You have the CFL and TSM panel talk about the franchise quarterbacks who will win the Grey Cup. You build buzz for the CFL draft. This thing could be huge, man. Your league can double in revenue in 10 years. We know that, but like it's risky, man. Like it's not as good quality football, I think. My guy, stop trying to be the NFL. The CFL will never be the NFL. I know you're trying to compete. You're trying to get quality football. Yeah, I want to get like as good quality football almost as good as the NFL, Ivan. Yeah, but guys, like the NFL is for the American people. The CFL is for the Canadian people. So stop trying to be the NFL. Stop trying to get as good quality football as the NFL. The NFL is the best American players playing in the States. The CFL should be the best Canadian players playing in Canada. Not these American guys who are NFL cuts and undrafted signed free agents being the stars up here in Canada who the fans don't resonate with. Don't hate him. Yeah, that's what Sarah. Like, don't get me rude. The CFL is pretty much like the AFL. It's like the American Football League, man. It's not really the Canadian Football League because Ivan is still like a Canadian. It's Ivan. Like, there's still some Canadian stars. Yeah, there's Canadian stars. There's barely any Canadian stars. All your star players are the linemen, and all these star players are the American players. So it's tough for the Canadian fans to take the league seriously. It's called the CFL, the Canadian Football League, and yet most of your star players are American players from the States. Because the CFL is blinded by the American talent, obviously. They believe they're the ones who are the ones who are going to grow the league because they put on a show. Yeah. But I don't see it that way. Look, man, even though these American guys are putting on a show, CFL, the fans don't resonate with these guys. They're American. They're from a different country. Like, that's why they don't really care about these guys that much. So, Sarah? Like, I've seen many CFL games. You see this running back, and you see, like, you know what I'm saying? You see the play-by-play guy. And this guy, he runs for 10 rushing yards. And this other American receiver, like, makes an amazing play. They score a touchdown. And they say his name, and the fans are roaring, and he gives the fans, like, the football and everything. Like, yeah, it's cool. Oh, my God, this receiver is sick. And I hope this team wins. But because he's American, and he's from a different country, like, I don't really care about that player, right? Because I can't resonate. I don't even know who the fuck that guy even is, man. I have no clue who these American guys even are. They're unknowns, man. So it's tough for me to resonate with the American guys. Whereas the Canadian guys, when they score touchdowns, I can resonate with them more. Obviously. Some Sarah? Like, when Andy Fantuz made catches, I was actually more, like, interested and invested. Because he's Canadian, obviously. It's my Canadian bias, obviously. Yeah. But even though the Canadian stars, when they make plays and everything, it's amazing. Because, like, the majority of the stars are the American players, I'm not as, like, invested in the... Yeah. I'm not, like, as invested in the interest of, like, of the league because, like, it's filled with all these American guys who I don't know about, right? I can't really resonate with them. That's just the way I feel. I don't know what you CFL fans. Well, Ivan, you're right. Even though we love these amazing athletes in the CFL, they're amazing. We love them. They're CFL stars. We can't really resonate with them because they're American. Yeah, they're from a different country, so I can't really resonate with the guys, right? Oh, I hate them. Yeah. CFL never make that change up. They'll see it's too risky. Look, man, if it's too risky, CFL, put the Canadian athlete, the best Canadian athletes, do better training, man. Better off-season training, better coaching, better conditioning, and you'll get a better performance on the field. It will not be on the same quality as the American players, but you're still looking at it. Yeah, it'll be amazing quality football, Ivan, but like it will dip a little bit, Ivan. Like, it's risky. It's a little bit risky. Yeah, the CFL doesn't think the best Canadian athletes are good enough to put on a show for the Canadian fans in Canada. Sad, huh? Yeah. All you have guys live, that's cool, but they don't trust you Canadian guys to put on a good enough of a show for the Canadian fans. Yeah, like the best players in Europe, obviously that league trusts those players to put on a good enough show for the fans in Europe, even though they're not even as good as the Canadians and the Americans. And then the NFL obviously trusts the best American players to put on a show for their league. But the CFL, for some reason, they don't trust the best Canadian players to put on as good of a show for the Canadian fans. That's why they bring all these American guys from the States, who are not even the best players in America, to put on the show up here for the people of Canada. You know, CFL, your league's not growing, so obviously something's not working, right? I don't know what it is. Maybe the fans just don't care about your CFL that much. Or there is market value for your league, but the people in Canada, football fans in Canada, don't really care because they don't really resonate with these American guys that much. Sarah? Because they're unknowns from a different country. That's Sarah? Never gonna happen though. CFO sees it as it's risky, man. Yeah, it's a little bit risky, but I mean, if you promote the best Canadian players in Canada, man, you do like nationwide commercials. You have the CFO panel talk about it, and you do the promos of like the star Canadian quarterbacks. Like you're telling me, CFO, more fans are not going to tune in. I even they will, but like we know like more people will be more interested, but like we're scared when they see the games because the quality will dip. There'll be less. Yeah, I resonate with these Canadian players, but it's not as entertaining football. I don't really want to watch this game. The CFL has that fear, but I think the fans don't really care that much. Yeah, the quality's not as good, but man, I love these Canadian guys. I want to see these guys play pro football. They're more invested in the league. CFL will never make that change, though. It's too risky. All GM coaches, you're crazy, man. You want to get rid of the American talent? You think we should get rid of the American talent? That's a bad idea, man. It's because of the American players this league has grown and we're keeping it afloat. That's what they believe. But I beg to differ. I think it's because of the American talent playing the CFL. The league is not growing because Canadian football fans can't resonate with no American players. They don't know who these guys are. They're from a different country, man. Yeah. I don't know. It's like you have a Team Canada football team, obviously filled with American players. Yeah, it's Team Canada, but the fans will not really resonate with that Team Canada team because it's filled with people from a different nationality. They won't really resonate with that Team Canada team, and they won't really care about that Team Canada team. You kind of get the same situation with the CFL. It may be the Canadian Football League, but the Canadian Football League is filled with American guys as star players in the league, and barely any Canadian guys as star players in the league. That's what I'm saying. I believe the fans are not really resonating with. I don't mean to be an asshole, all you CFL stars. They're not resonating with you American guys in the CFL. As I know because I don't resonate with the American guys when I watch the games. I don't resonate with them. I don't really care that much about them. I'm sorry. I don't really care that much about the American players the way I care about the Canadian players, obviously. Well, I mean, such a fucking dick, man. I don't mean to be an asshole, guys. I'm just telling you the truth, man. I don't really resonate with you guys that much because you're from a different country. Like I'm Canadian, you guys are American. I can't really resonate with you guys, man. I just can't because like I don't know anything about you guys. You're just guys who come up here and you put on a show. You're amazing athletes, obviously. You can put on a show, but I can't resonate with you. You're from a different country. You guys are American, man. I'm Canadian. We're Canadians, right? Yeah. Let me say, guys, I'm gonna go put ketchup on my plate, obviously. See if I'm talking to you. The CFL committee, I'm talking to you guys. Be honest, man. You guys probably have tuned into CFL on TSN and you watch the panel talk about these American quarterbacks and running backs. Be honest with me. I'm talking to you. I know you're blinded by the American talent. As Canadian guys, when they talk about Bo Levi Mitchell and Zach Galeros and all these American running backs and receivers, even though you care a little bit and you respect them as receivable stars, do you really resonate with these American players? Guys, be honest. We do, Ivan. Well, maybe you do, but for me, I don't. When they talk about these players, like, yeah, it's cool. Can Bo Levi Mitchell, can this star receiver be, you know what I'm saying? Like, can they go to the Grey Cup? Can they, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's cool and you're interested, but like, because they're American, you can't resonate them. I don't really care that much, right? I'm not really that invested in the hype of the players and then the game because they're American players who I don't even know, right? A different country, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just like the Americans don't care about us Canadian players too either, right? Yeah. NFL was filled with Canadian star players. The fans in America wouldn't resonate with the league either because they're Canadian players and they have their bias too. You have the same situation here, obviously. Yeah, we wouldn't really care, but we don't care about you Canadian guys. Yeah, you don't resonate with us Canadian players either. So, but the CFL somehow thinks they're blinded by the talent. Yeah, because they're very talented, we got to keep all these guys up here and have them be the stars of the league. But the fans are always not resonating with these players, or the Canada just doesn't care about your CFL. I don't know. Those are my two answers, obviously. CFL will never do that. No, not gonna happen. CFL told me, "All right, man, we need to give these American guys an opportunity to play for football." You know what I'm saying? That's what they would tell me. Okay, if you want to give the American players an opportunity to play for football, how about you do a thing where you have all the Canadian players play, and you have 7 American guys play instead. Only you can bring 7 players per team. That way you give more opportunity to the Canadian players, but they won't. We can't do that, man. Like the quality will dip. Yeah, you guys are. It's ridiculous, man. You guys, you think the best Canadian players are not good enough to put on a show on television for the Canadian fans. These American guys who are not even from Canada, they deserve to be the stars up here when they're fucking American. They're not even from Canada, man. Ridiculous, man. Because they're blinded by the American. I'm sorry, man. We're blinded by the American talent. They're too talented. They put on a show. We gotta have these guys be the stars of the league. And this is how we go to the league with American players from a different country in Canada. Very weird. Yeah. Let me ask all you hockey fans who love hockey, right? If there was a Team Canada hockey team and it was filled with American players playing on that team, yeah, you would still love that Team Canada team, but would you resonate with that Team Canada team? No, we wouldn't even. Because even though it's Team Canada, it's not really Team Canada. They're from a different nationality. We can't, yeah, you can't resonate because with the guys because they're from a different country. But you kind of have the same situation going on in the CFL. Even though the CFL is the Canadian Football League, it's filled with American players who are the stars of the league. So it's tough for us people in Canada to resonate with these guys, CFL, because they're American. They're from a different country. Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. The CFL always had this bias. Yes, they did. They had this rule for decades, man. That's all the CFL legends are all American. Are all pretty much all these American guys in a Canadian league. All the legends are all these guys from a different country from America. The CFL's blinded by the American talent. Guys, they put on a show up here. Yeah, but like guys, man, no one in Canada really cares about these guys, man. They're from a different country. No one even knows who they are. No one really cares. Oh, Hamilton, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I guarantee you, all the American players in the CFL, they laugh at the best Canadian athletes. Yeah, man, like all these best Canadian athletes get drafted, and yet like there's barely any Canadian stars. We're the stars up here. We're not even from here, and they never want to be in your CFL to begin with. CFL, they're only in the CFL because they didn't get the NFL opportunity, or they're not, or they got cut in the NFL, right? Yeah, man. We need to give the American players an opportunity to play pro football. Yeah, but you also need to give the Canadian players an opportunity to play pro football. We do know, but like when I mean opportunity, I mean actually be stars. It's not fair that you give all these American guys from the States their opportunity to play pro football up here, but you limit the opportunity for the Canadian athletes in their own country. Like, how's that fair, CFL? Like, these American guys are not even Canadian, man. They're fucking American people, man. We're a different country, and then they deserve to be the stars in your league. Well, they're not even from here, man. They're from a different country, guys. The Canadian athletes are from here, and then they have limited opportunity. Why? Because they're not as talented. That's why you got to get rid of the American talent. That we don't have to worry about that. Right? They'll be a different quality. Put them through better training in the off season, and conditioning, better coaching, and you'll get a better quality on the field. I can even make so much of a difference, right? Yeah. You think all the Canadian players in the CFL agree with you? Of course they do. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice for us Canadian players in CFL to be the stars up here, but man, like the league's bias. Yeah, they're biased towards you guys. I don't think you guys are good enough to put on a show for the fans in on television. It's ridiculous, man. And like that, the people, the committee in the CFL are Canadian people too, and they even look down on their own talent, man. It's ridiculous, man. Because they're blinded by the American talent. They're trying to be out. They're trying to be the NFL of Canada, right? That's why they bring all the American guys so they can put on a show. But you know, CFL, your league's not growing, so something's obviously not working. Obviously, but yeah, there you go. I'm sorry, we got to keep the American talent. Okay, I understand why you want to keep the American talent because you're worried about the dip in quality by a little bit, right? How do you want to promote your American talent, your amazing American talent in your CFL, in the Canadian League? How do you want to promote it? Yeah, you don't have an answer. We tried. Yeah, you tried everything you can think of, promoting the heck out of all these athletes on the TSN Pro one. Yet no one really cares, man. Why? Because I believe that the fans are not resonating with the American guys because they're American. They're from a different country. Yeah. Like, which quarterback do you care about the most in the league? Nathan Rook, because he's Canadian, man. It's just an automatic bias I have, man. I don't care about those other American quarterbacks. I care more about Nathan Rook. He's Canadian. It's just an automatic. We know, man. The fans like you Canadians more, but like you're not as talented either. Yeah, you underestimate the Canadian talent, guys. It's ridiculous, man. As Team Canada beat Team USA CFL, best players in Canada, UA team beat Team USA, UA team. Yeah, you just gotta give them proper training, and you're gonna get. Like, you will not be on the same level as the Americans, but almost as good, guys. You're still getting amazing quality football. This is the star CIS players are amazing players who get drafted. Yeah, Andy Fantuz was just as good as all the American um, athletes, even better than some of them. He wasn't as athletic, but he had amazing hands, just as good as all these amazing stars. Obviously, he retired pretty early, but he had an amazing career in the CFL. Andy Fantuz. Yeah, yeah. Does the CFL scout American players too? Yeah, they do. They scout the CIS, the star players in the CIS, the CFL, and they also scout down south at like NFL training camp. The CFL also goes down south. They scout they scout players at like NFL camps too. As you guys in the NFL know what I'm talking about, right? CFL goes down south too. They scout your NFL too. They go to the NFL. They scout down there too. Obviously, the bubble guys, right? They ask the NFL guys, okay, who are your bubble guys? Who are the guys who might get cut? And they let them know, and that's how they scout the players in the down south. They scouted in America too, the CFL, obviously. But when the CFL scouts down south, all these American athletes don't care about the CFL, man. Like, yeah, even though there's a CFL scouter, I don't really care about the CFL. But when they get cut, they have no choice but to play in the CFL because that's the only other place they can play. Like CFL, these American guys don't want to play in the CFL. They don't want to be here, man. They're only here because they have no choice. They want to play pro football, and okay, I'm not good enough for the NFL. I didn't get drafted. I have an opportunity to play pro football up north in Canada, but I don't really want to be there. I don't really care that much about the CFL. They don't really care about the CFL. Um, CFL. So Sarah, that much. Their dream is playing in the NFL. There they go. The only time they care about the CFL is when they become stars. When they become star players and they're getting paid good money and they're now having an amazing career up here, that's when they're more invested in the league. But even then, like, even though I'm a star in the CFL, it would have been nice to be a star in the NFL. Their ultimate dream was, even all the CFL legends who come up here, they got to be legends up here, but their ultimate dream was playing pro football in the NFL, right? Milt Stegall, Matt Dunnigan, even though they're CFL legends, being that wasn't their ultimate dream. Their ultimate dream was being a legend in the NFL. That was their dream. It wasn't being an NFL a legend in the CFL. These guys never really wanted to be here, man. They only ended up here because they didn't get their NFL opportunity, right? Yeah, okay, I'm saying, yeah. Yeah. Alright, is the CFL popular in Canada? No, not really, man. Like, people on YouTube probably talk about the CFL. There's barely any CFL YouTube channels on YouTube. It's embarrassing, man. Like, the NFL, you have all these sport talk shows about the NFL and everything, the NHL too. There's barely any sport talk shows about the CFL. And the sport talk shows that do talk about the CFL are not that popular YouTube channels. Not that popular at all, right? CFL is struggling to attract the fans, man. It really is, yeah. Obviously. Oh, yeah, I'm saying, yeah. It's a blue collar league. Obviously, like the athletes playing in the CFL are not multimillionaires, right?